Now they're putting the men in menstruation. The Lib Dems were criticised today over plans for a vote on whether periods are not just a woman's issue. At the party's annual conference, members will be asked to agree that menstruation also affects some trans people and non-binary people. The plan has faced a backlash, with one Tory MP commenting, "Crikey, could they get any more off the rails?" It follows party leader Ed Davey saying that a woman can quite clearly have a penis back in May. This begs, of course, a number of questions, in particular, how much time have the Lib Dems got on their hands right now? I mean, this is just extraordinary. I was trying to imagine this conversation 10 years ago, that they're having a vote on whether it's, whether a woman can have a penis and whether men can have periods. It's a level of insanity that, unfortunately, has kind of gone full circle to the point that there's a certain tiny sort of cultist minority that actually believe this kind of stuff. The idea that you get to the stage where it's a vote at a party conference tells you everything you need to know about the Lib Dems, frankly, and about nothing more than that. But the idea that something like this, I mean, it affects, a tiny... I mean, there's lots of issues in life you could debate. Nobody suggests that if you're a trans man and you haven't had all the surgery, of course you're still going to have a period. We get that. I don't know why it needs to have a conference. I don't know why the workplace needs to change all of its rules. I don't know why anybody has to be forced to change their opinions. I don't know why people are fired or cancelled because they don't agree with other aspects of the debate. The idea that if you're not fully with us, you're therefore fully against. It's just an insanity, a malaise that is strangling society, normal discourse and sensible people.
Presumably they want to say, but we voted on it and we voted yes, so it must be true. Because that's the way they think. So they'll be going, well, yeah, but we won the vote, so therefore that's now it's accepted.
But the thing is, this is not
You're right, I didn't want to vote on. What are they voting on exactly?
Well, an
men can
opinion.
have periods.
But this is not an entire party coup. So apparently this motion was put forward by Young Liberals and a local party branch. So this is why the mechanisms of how a political party is run is so important, because this is what happened at the SNP. You had a small group of very, very left-wing people that thought it was a good idea to bring, looser self-ID laws and then basically cost Nicola Sturgeon her job. And the same thing is happening with the Lib Dems, which shows that the party is run like, a kid's picnic. Yeah. It's not run by serious people, because ultimately you have to think of how are you going to differentiate yourself at the next general election to make yourself a viable option, a third party, because it really looks like Westminster's still up for grabs. And the fact that this is what's coming in the headlines for people regarding the Lib Dems is atrocious.
Sorry, JJ. I think S is absolutely right about this. The sort of element that it's the tail wagging the dog for the party. So you've got the rump of the party who are very, very keen on making sure that the wider party doesn't go off. Sort of doesn't go off what they want to see as the most important thing. And meanwhile, I suspect HQ of the party were tearing their hair out, going, this is not what we want to be, in the newspapers for at the moment. This is actually embarrassing us. And it's often been the way when you get, the radicals. I mean, I remember years ago at Lib Dem conference when they were trying, there was a rump of the party that was trying to get them to put legalising drugs or legalising cannabis in their manifesto. And it was seen as outrageously scandalous at the time. Nowadays, it wouldn't be seen as that big a deal, but it's embarrassing for them.
I just don't understand it. I genuinely don't get it. Like, surely everyone will say that trans men can have periods and women have periods. And that's the end of the debate.
I mean, there's really no point debating this because it's ludicrous. It's
ludicrous. It doesn't take much time.
Or some trans men.
It comes, however, what you can identify as a tree or a potato, it doesn't matter. It comes down to your sex. This is why it's so ridiculous, because inserting the whole gender ideology debate into something that's clearly very binary, just to do with your sex, every cell in your body, I mean, it's completely ridiculous. And this is why I'm talking about the mechanisms of how a party is run, because everyone else knows that this is stupid, but you have these small, very enthusiastic people that are really tanking the party's ability to build a coalition, because that's how elections are won. You build coalitions among certain sections of society.
But their problem is they don't know what they stand for, as you've just said. I mean, the one thing that stands out if you're a Lib Dem is that most of them supposedly want to rejoin the European Union, which would be a far more interesting, sort of place to be if you wanted to set yourself apart from the other two parties, because none of the other two parties want to do that. Indeed. So if you say, if you want to rejoin the EU, vote Lib Dem. There you go. There's the slogan.
It's a legitimate debate.
In my pocket, thank you very much indeed.
And there's loads of other issues. Climate, they could get into that. I just don't know.
No, but everybody else does that. Do something nobody else does.
That's very true.
No, this cobblers.
But whatever they want to do, quite why they feel compelled to throw this in as a debate. Well, why? Most people aren't considering this. No one has horrible views on this kind of stuff. Most people don't. You know, it's just a nonsense. And it's become a sort of hysterical narrative that politicians now feel that if they don't have these opinions, they're doing something wrong.
Well,